and welcome to a new Knitted by Whitney video. I am here with another pattern roundup video, and I know I just did one, but there are two reasons why I wanted to bring you today's pattern roundup. The first is that I have two projects right now, but I can't do a podcast episode because both of those projects are unfinished, and both of them are at a standstill with where I am in the patterns. The first one, I just don't have enough yarn for, so I'm waiting to get some more yarn. And the second one is in timeout in the freezer because I need to frog some mohair. And it's really bugging me, that pattern. I'm not sure if I'm liking it or not. Obviously, I'll talk more about it when I do my podcast episode about it, but for right now, it's in timeout in the freezer. I can't deal with it right now. Because it's taking a little more brain power than my projects normally take. Anyway, I thought, because I can't work on either of those two tops, why don't I bring you a pattern roundup of some of my favorite tops? So that's my second reason for doing this video today, is because I need another top to work on. So I thought I would bring you my top 30 size-inclusive spring and summer tops. Now, in this list, I have included some tank tops, some t-shirts, and I am super jazzed about all of these patterns. They're all really great patterns. They all have different styles, different elements to them, different design details, and all of them just, I get excited about all of them, and I'm hoping that by doing this pattern roundup, I might be able to choose one of them to work on next, because it is officially spring in Nova Scotia. We finally have some sun, some warmth. This past week, we had a week of rain until tail end of yesterday. We finally got a bit of sun, and then today it's beautiful and sunny out. Not nearly as hot as it is in other places in Canada right now. I know Alberta is currently having some really warm weather. We're not there yet. We're still in single digits to like low double digits. So I just thought it's feeling springy. I'm ready to do this pattern roundup. I want to start a new project while I'm waiting for both of mine that are in timeout. So I thought, why not do this list, see if something from the list sparks my fancy. Now, you have probably already recognized the elephant in the room. We're in a different room. I've actually never podcasted or done a pattern roundup in this area of the house. This is our bedroom, in case you couldn't tell by all the pillows. But I wanted to podcast in here because the colors that we have in this room really scream spring to me. We have this beautiful spring bedspread. Our walls are like this gorgeous, like light grayish purple, and it seemed really fresh and springy. And also Doyle was working in the living room, so I wanted to give him his space and come to this area of the house. Now, a motorcycle just went by. I don't know yet until I edit this video if that's going to be an annoyance or not, so if you do hear road noise, I do apologize. Our bedroom faces the front of the house, which is the roadside. And like I've mentioned in many of my other videos, we live on a busy road and I cannot control the people that go up and down our road. So I hope it's not too disruptive, and I hope you're going to enjoy this really fun list of patterns. So shall we get into some spring and summer size-inclusive patterns? Let's go. So I've knit myself a few tops, and I've kind of stuck to either cap sleeve or full t-shirt style patterns, but I am very eager to do some knitted tank tops. So I'm going to start with a pattern that I've already made. Number one on my list is the top that I'm wearing. I know, funny that, right? I've done this in a few videos now, so I guess it's kind of expected that what I'm wearing might be on the list of patterns. I am wearing the Elizabeth Bennett linen tee designed by Gabrielle Everett, also known as Gabby's Knit Goodies. And this was a really fun pattern to make. I actually tested this for Gabby. I remember early on when I joined Ravelry in like 2015, I looked for Jane Austen patterns because I am a Jane Austen fan. In case you couldn't tell, in the opening to my videos, I do have a box set of Jane Austen's books. And I found at the time it was just called, I think, the Lizzie Bennett tea or the Elizabeth Bennett tea, something like that. And it only had 3 sizes, small, medium, large. So I kind of like put it in the back of my brain to think maybe one day I'll try and rework this myself with bigger yarn, bigger needles, do the math and everything. But at the time that I found it, of course, I didn't have those skills yet. Fortunately for me, back in 2021, I think it was, I went on to that pattern page again on Ravelry just for fun and noticed that Gabby had put out a call for testers because she was expanding the sizing. Yay! Thank you so much, Gabby. Anyway, I didn't have to do the work to modify it to fit me. Gabby did it herself, and that meant that I could make the top to fit me following a pattern as is, which was excellent. So I was really, really happy about that. And at the time, she was looking for testers. So I thought, I have a break in what I'm working on right now. I might as well sign up to test knit this because I love this pattern. Love that it's based on Elizabeth Bennett. And at the time, I didn't have many knitted tees in my wardrobe, so I thought that's a great opportunity to make myself a summer wardrobe. And I am so happy that I made this. It's a really, really cute design. Obviously, you can't tell the way that I'm sitting down now, and also I'm wearing overalls, but it is a hip-length tee that has a gorgeous detail in the back. It has these eyelets that come up in the shape of a triangle, and I absolutely love that. It was a little tricky to get when I first started because there's cables and lace together in that same motif. And I do have a spot here and there where I don't have it exactly lined up, but it's not the end of the world. It's a design feature, not a mistake, because it's a hand knit, unique garment. Anyway, I absolutely love this tee, and it's one that I wear all the time in the summertime because linen is probably my favorite fiber to wear when it's hot out because it's so breathable and it's so cool. And it's just a great tee. It's got great flow to it. I really love wearing this tee with shorts or with pants and have it like French tucked in the front because then you get this really nice like drapiness in the front and then in the back it's just hanging down and you see that gorgeous feature coming down the back. Oh, so beautiful. So that is my number 1 pick. And it's one that I wear frequently. I have paired it with a couple of different outfits and it gets a lot of wear in my closet. Number 2 on my list is a brand new design. This is the Oolong tank by Amy Share Makes. And I haven't made any of Amy's patterns yet, but I feel like I'm not on the bandwagon because her designs are gorgeous and they're super size inclusive and she gives a lot of options for customizing. I am really in love with the Oolong tank because to me that's like peak summer. That's the kind of top that you just throw on with a pair of denim shorts when you're hitting the beach, or you can put it over like a cami dress and it can be this really nice layer on top. Pair it with a full skirt for a really nice outfit for a wedding. There are lots of opportunities to dress up or even dress down this really beautiful tank. One of my favorite features of the tank is that central lace motif, and I really love that because the tank is just a really basic shape and it's something that is really, really classic, but by adding that lace central panel, it just brings it to a whole new level and really elevates the tee so that you can wear it in basically any situation. It could be something for a casual look or it can be something for a really dressy look. And there are lots of size options and lots of customization options. Number 3 on my list is one that's already on my list of things to make, but in a different way. Number 3 is the Ribbed to Your Measure by Lacy Williamson, also known as Windwood Farm Knits. Now, I have this on my list to make because I'm going to make the dress version with some yarn coming to me in the next little while, but I won't be able to make the dress probably for at least a year or so. But I love the tank just as much as the dress, and the reason I love it is because this is what I would call a sexy knit. I don't have many sexy hand knits, and that's something that I want to fix because knitting is not just for comfy, cozy wear. It's also for really fun and flirty and sexy looks as well, because you can customize what you're making to fit your body perfectly. And I really want a figure hugging piece of knitwear. So I am going to make the dress, which is going to be my figure hugging knit dress, but I also want to make the tank top. And I really feel like this is going to be a staple piece of my wardrobe, especially when it comes to in the summer, you're just really, really hot. You want to wear as little as possible, but you might also want to wear some knitwear. And made with the right fabric, this is going to be one of those tops. So when I say made with the right fabric, I mean you need to make sure that it's got to have either merino wool, which is a wicking material, or you need to have cotton or linen or silk. Anything that's going to be one of those really breathable fibers to work with. But that shouldn't keep you from doing a knit tank. One of the things that I really like about this tank, especially when it comes to sizing, is that there's a lot of forgiveness in a rib knit. So you can really make it fit you perfectly without worrying too much about sizing. Of course, it is size inclusive. It does go pretty far up and down the range of sizes, but even within that range, the flexibility of the ribbing is going to make it so that it fits you really, really nicely and you're really comfortable in it, which is something I'm always looking for. Number 4 on my list is a pattern that I have not just knit once, I've knit twice. And I might be knitting a third time because this is one of the patterns on this list that is in my brain right now to knit right now while my other projects are on hiatus. And that is the Botanical Tea by Knittitude. I have to say this is probably one of my favorite patterns that I've ever made, and I love it so much. I've knit it multiple times. The reason I love the Botanical Tea so much is that it fits so well into my wardrobe and lifestyle. I wear this top all the time for work. I find it's the perfect style of tea that works for my work wardrobe and for my work dress code. So I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but I do work at a government library, and we can have a flexible dress code based on who might be there. So sometimes there are some more important people and we need to be a little dressier than normal. But if it's a quiet time, we're able to be more casual and relaxed. But this top works for any outfit that I want to do for work because I can dress it up with a really nice skirt and a cardigan if I want to have it for a nice time at work. Or I can wear it with jeans or with shorts if it's a casual time and I just want to be comfy and cozy. Now I do always wear a tank top underneath this tank just because I find that the lace panel in the center is a little revealing because some of my holes are quite large. But if you want to keep an eye on your tension when you're doing the pattern, you might not need to wear a tank top underneath. I just found that for my comfort level, I needed that, especially if I wanted to wear it to work where it's not a really good idea to have my bra showing at work. Most offices are like that, I think. But something that is really cute about the Botanical Tea is that there's a little surprise element to it. Because even though it has that beautiful lace panel on the front, turn it around and there's these really cute eyelets going halfway up the back of the top, which I just think is this really adorable little detail. And it also helps with ventilation in the warmer months. Number 5 on my list is the Feldspar Tea by Hannah Lubin of Herb Garden Knitwear. Now, there's technically 2 versions of the Feldspar Tea on Ravelry. The one that I'm talking about is the Feldspar Tea 2.0, which is the one that Hannah regraded to have more sizes. Now, I know I've said that I am a top-down lover, and this is a bottom-up sweater, but Hannah is an immaculate designer when it comes to sizing and fit. So I completely trust her and would definitely do any of her bottom-up patterns, including the Feldspar Tea, which I love this tea because I think it has really great shape, and I love the pearl lines as a detail on the sweater. I think it just looks really fresh, and even though it's a standard t-shirt style, it gives it that little bit of detail that makes it stand out and makes it look a little fancy. It's really simple. It's a couple of lines of purl stitches instead of knit stitches, but For whatever reason, it just really stands out to me. And I think what I like about it is that it reminds me of stripes without being stripes. So you can keep just one color going up the whole t-shirt and feel like you're doing a striped garment with that little bit of interest, but it's something fairly simple and straightforward. And if you did want to take it to the next level, you could do those pearl rounds with an alternating color and have a little extra detail to your sweater. Now, the Feldspar tee isn't my only favorite pattern from Hannah's, and it's not the only pattern of Hannah's on this list, because number 6 is the Seaborn Tea, also by Hannah Lubin of Herb Garden Knitwear. Now, this has to be probably my favorite pattern that Hannah has ever released, and I cannot believe I haven't made this tee yet. It is so beautiful. It has so many beautiful details, but the best part about it is that it has so much flexibility of sizing. I don't know how Hannah managed to do all of the math required to give you so many options in this top, but thank you so much for doing it, Hannah, because this pattern is beautiful and so customizable. I am getting some yarn sent to me soon that I'm going to use to make this tee, but I haven't decided yet if it's going to be one color or two, because I have seen 2 different options on the pattern page of Ravelry where some people have done it with just one color, and I think it looks really, really pretty, even though my heart is telling me to do it with 2 colors. So I just have to decide what my second color will be. But this is definitely a tee on my list. I think it's so beautiful. I just really love the scalloped edging on the sleeves and the hem of the tee. I think that really elevates it and makes it something that's just that little bit extra, that's fancy enough to wear to a really nice event, or if you wanted to dress it up as a wedding guest at a wedding. All kinds of options for this tee, or even just with your jeans or your jean shorts heading to the beach, because it's just such a beautiful top. Now, number 7 on my list, I've included kind of as a response to a top that I saw Young Folk Knits make in one of her podcast episodes, Casey. Casey was making an all-over lace tank top, and she had to kind of fiddle with it because it wasn't available in her size, and it wasn't size inclusive at all. And in my search for tank tops and t-shirts for this video, I happened to find a pattern that looks really similar to this top that she was working on, but is a size inclusive pattern. I'm talking about the Camellia tank top by Oolong avec Anna. This is just a really beautiful, detailed, sexy spaghetti strap tank top. I absolutely love this pattern. It's definitely going on my list to knit, because there's so many details about this pattern that just, they draw me in so easily. First and foremost, that all over sort of like feather style lace, it's just stunning. It's such an impressive design, and I'm hopeful that it's one that won't be too complicated, or at least will be very easy to memorize once you really get into the pattern. I also am just addicted to that button band. I'm a big button band fan. I just think they look so beautiful. They're a really beautiful detail, and they're not that hard to do. You know, you just need to make some buttonholes, sew some buttons on, there you go. But it gives impact, and that's what I really like about it. I might be using the word impact a lot lately because I've been watching The Great British Sewing Bee, and that's something that Patrick and Esme say all the time, is if something is really impressive, it has impact. This is a knit that has impact, but it also has a lot of sizes, and it has a detail in it that just really stands out to me as a plus size person who would want to knit this pattern, but might not stand out to somebody who is more of a smaller size, and that's the width of the straps. It would have been super easy for Anna to design this pattern with skinny little I-cord straps, but she didn't. She designed it with some garter stitch straps, and those garter stitch straps can be made wider if you need a wider strap to hide your bra strap, which when you're a plus size person like me, or even if you're not plus size and you just need a large bra, the larger you go, the larger those straps get, and it's some hard to hide them when you're wearing a skimpy little tank top. But Anna has included that really nice detail, and it just makes me so happy that she thought of that as a detail that would help some of the larger sizes. Now, number 8 on my list is a set of 2 patterns, and you might be surprised that I took this long to talk about it, but it's the Souffle Tea and the Summer Souffle, both by Laura Penrose of Penrose Knits. I have gushed over and over and over about the souffle in many pattern roundup videos and in a few podcast episodes, but I have to include it. It's one of my favorite spring and summer tops, and of course I love it because of that adorable little ruffle. It's so cute, and it just makes the pattern so much more elevated. It is super great to wear if you're going to a fancy event like a summer wedding, or you can really just pair it with your jean shorts and go to the beach. It's something that can work with really a multitude of outfits, and it's one that I love dearly. I know a lot of people might not want to make the mohair version for a summer knit, and let me tell you, I made mine out of alpaca. Oh boy, that guy is hot in the summertime. So I don't typically wear that one in the summer, which is why I'm currently working on a second version that is made out of tencel yarn, which is made out of wood pulp. And I haven't worn it yet because it's not done yet. That's my project that I'm waiting for more yarn on. But every time I put it on, it feels cool against my skin. It has amazing drape, and I just really want to get the yarn so that I can finish it because it's super cute and I love it. And it's going to be my souffle version for the summertime when I do want something cooler than my mohair version. But if you don't want to knit the souffle in really small yarn, such as mohair held double, or in my case, tencel held double, there is the summer souffle, which is knit in DK weight cotton, or a cotton linen blend, cotton merino blend. There's all kinds of choices when you get to DK, and that would be a great option as well.
Hi everyone, Editing Whitney here. I realized after I recorded my video that the patterns that were supposed to be in this slot turned out to not be size inclusive, and I am kicking myself for not double checking before I recorded my video, which would have saved me having to splice in this little segment, but here we are. I am disappointed because the designer that they're from has a lot of other size inclusive patterns. It's just the tank tops by this designer are not. And I think because I know a lot of their other patterns that are size inclusive, I expected their tank tops to also be size inclusive. However, that was not the case. So I've learned my lesson, double check before recording, and I have chosen a different pattern to feature now instead. And if I wait to release this video for another maybe 3 to 5 days, this pattern will be available. If not, it's going to be very, very, very soonly coming out. It is a hot off the press pattern. It is the Tolsta Tea by Rebecca Khloe of the Crea Bea, and I am so thrilled about this pattern. So I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise that the other patterns turned out to not be size inclusive for this video, and I could include Rebecca's pattern instead because I'm thrilled about this pattern. There is so much you can do with this, what looks like a basic t-shirt design. And that is because not only has Rebecca designed what is probably the perfect DK weight basic t-shirt, but she has provided ample amounts of inspiration for ways that you can take the Tolsta and completely personalize it to what you like. Yes, there are a million ways you could play around with this design. She is encouraging people to play with color, to play with texture, to add eyelets, to change up the sleeves, change up the hem, do whatever makes your heart happy. And I am super excited. I am definitely purchasing this pattern myself. It is currently in a DK weight option, But Rebecca is already working on the fingering weight version, and if you buy the pattern now, when the fingering weight version is ready, which I think she said she's hoping to have that sometime this summer, you'll get an update to your pattern and you'll have the fingering weight version as well. So I just think that's outstanding on Rebecca's part. I think that's just wonderful. Instead of taking the fingering weight version and just creating a new pattern and trying to sell a secondary pattern, she's including it in with the DK weight Tolsta, which I just think is a great thing to do. It's definitely something that I appreciate as a knitter and as a consumer, because now I have two different ways of knitting this t-shirt using two different sizes of yarn. And I'm really excited to take this pattern and just roll with it and come up with something that is going to just speak me. And I really hope you like the pattern as well and might want to take a look at it yourself. Anyway, back to the rest of the video.
Number 10 on my list is the Rocket Tea by Tanis Fiber Arts, a local Nova Scotia designer. I really like this top because this is a great stash busting option. Because you're using two different yarns, you're using a fingering and a mohair. But like I mentioned with the souffle, if you don't want to use mohair, you could use either a tencel, which is what I'm using for my souffle blouse, or you could use a really thin silk or even just a thin cotton, anything that you would like to use, just so you get that difference between thicknesses of yarn, because that's what makes this t-shirt stand out. I love the gentle striping. So Tanis has used very similar colors in her sample. She's used two different shades of blue, but you could really go wild and crazy and use any combo of colors that you like. What I really like about this pattern is also that it really looks like a store-bought t-shirt. And, you know, I'm kind of at a point with my wardrobe where I'm trying to use my craft to help me pad my wardrobe with hand knit versions of those staples that I like to buy from stores. So this one really stands out to me for that reason. I am a V-neck wearer usually. That's my preferred neckline to wear for t-shirts and tank tops. And I really like that this one would allow me to replace a standard V-neck striped tank top in my wardrobe. Number 11 is another set of dual patterns. I am including the Outline Tank and Outline Tee, both by Jessie Made. I love the look of these sweaters. I think they look effortlessly cool. I think it's such a nice style to have that row of what you might think are eyelet stitches, but are technically stitches that have been ripped back to create those really cool lines, which sounds terrifying to me. But I want to make these patterns at some point, so I'll have to do it and be okay with it. But everyone I know who has made it really likes it, and it's not as scary as you might think once it's done and you understand, no, you're not going to rip out your entire project. It's okay. These patterns really appeal to me because they are a very basic shape and style, but they look really, really cool. Like, they look like they would fit with anything in your wardrobe. I can totally imagine layering the Outline tank top with my white button-up linen shirt, or wearing the tee with like my favorite pair of jeans for a night out with friends. They just look like something that's going to give you a lot of versatility with your wardrobe. So that's what I love the most about these patterns. Number 12 on my list is a top I can't believe I haven't made yet, because it's one that really appeals to me because it's similar in gauge to the Lento sweater, which is probably one of my favorite sweater patterns now. It is the Maya top by Gabriella Tremino, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, I do apologize. The Maya top is one of those patterns that you seem to cast on, do your yoke, join for your body, and before you know it, you're done because you're knitting at such a large gauge. This is a pattern that is one of those easy breezy summer tops that you're going to layer over a tank top or maybe over a dress, or just wear on its own if you want to. But it's something that I could definitely see in my wardrobe as one of those really great summer layering pieces. Being somebody who does not like a tight fitting neckline, I really appreciate that really big boat neck of the Maya top. I think it's something that's really sexy because it helps like your collarbones stick out, or maybe it'll like brush off the edge of your shoulder. And I really love that this is a piece that I could imagine so many things in my wardrobe. But I just haven't done it yet, and I don't know why. I think it's because I keep changing my mind about what yarn I want to use for it because it doesn't use a lot of yarn. So I have a lot of stash options that I've been thinking about for this pattern. I think I just need to pick one and go with it. Maybe this pattern will be the one that I cast on soon. I don't know, maybe. Number 13 on my list is the Rift Tea by Jaclyn Sislak. This is another what I would consider staple pattern for my wardrobe. And that's because it's really just a basic t-shirt style that comes in a couple of different lengths that allows you to customize it. And even though I'm not normally a bottom-up sweater person, I really feel that this would be a great piece for my wardrobe, and I think I would be able to manage the bottom-up issue. Well, it's not really an issue, it's just my personal choice. I'd be able to handle the bottom-up construction, no problem, just because Jaclyn Sislak is a designer who has a body similar to mine, so I trust that she knows how to design for plus-size bodies. So I will make this one at some point too. It's definitely on the list. Number 14 on my list is bringing the sexy back, and I mean that literally. It is the Sun-Kissed top by Nordland, which is this stunning racerback tank top. Now this would be a little challenging to wear if you require support, like I do for certain parts of your body, because there's not a lot of places to hide a bra strap. But I could totally see this as a cover-up to a bathing suit. If you need a supportive undergarment to wear and you don't want to wear a bra with this top, I think that would totally work. This is definitely your sexy summer top. This is something that I could totally see you wearing as a cover-up on the beach, and then you wear it with a skirt when you go out to dinner that night, but you didn't change out of your bikini. You kept that on. I just think it's so sexy with that lace panel on the racer back, and the front also has that really nice slightly cowl neckline of the design and those little straps along the shoulders. I just think it's something that really stands out and is a total summer garment. Come on, it's called the Sun-Kissed top. You're showing off your shoulders, you're showing off your back. It's just a really sexy knit, and I love it for that. If showing off your back isn't your thing, you'd rather show off something in the front, number 15 is the pattern for you. That is the Ballerina Wrap Top by Two of Wands. I love a Two of Wands pattern, and this is probably one of my favorite ones. I have plans for a few of these, just haven't gotten around to them yet, but this is a gorgeous wrapped top. I just think it's super cute, very sexy, and it's something that I love the style of for any body type, because a wrap style is something that I feel you can really work to make fit your body perfectly, because you're tying it around your waist. You can cinch it as tightly as you'd like. You can leave it a little looser and have a little more freedom of movement. I can totally see myself wearing this top out to dinner, because I could have it tied nice and tightly when I go out to dinner, and then I have my meal. Maybe I'm feeling a little stuffed. I can loosen up my top a bit and not feel as constricted when I leave the restaurant. I also love a good v-neck, as I've mentioned, but I especially love a wrap style v-neck. There's something that is just super sexy about that to me, and it's something that I love to wear, so I really need to get down to business and make myself one of these tops. Number 16 on my list is another absolute classic. It's called the Perfect Knit T-shirt by Caitlin Barthold, also known as Originally Lovely. This is a pattern that I came across a while ago, and it's something that I know I need to have in my wardrobe because it looks just like a store-bought t-shirt. And I know it's going to be something that I would get so much wear out of. I also love that it's actually really beginner friendly. And it's also a free pattern. I've had a couple of free patterns in this video. I just haven't mentioned it because I forgot. But this one is a free pattern, and I actually included it in my top 50 free size inclusive patterns video, which was my very first pattern roundup video, and kind of started me on this train of sharing size inclusive patterns because nobody else is doing it. So I'm very happy to be the one doing it now. I get a lot of joy out of doing these videos, but I also get a lot of joy out of a really classic pattern, and that would be this t-shirt right here. I could see this in a multitude of colors. I could see this in more than one color. This could be a really great scrappy project if you just want to like do a magic knot ball and like go through your colors as much as you can and have this really wild and crazy t-shirt. Or you could do it in the classic white like the pattern sample. It's something that is going to be a fun knit to make, and it's also going to be something that will have a pride of place in your wardrobe. Number 17 on my list. I'm going to admit I might have included it partly because it was an ACOTAR related pattern, but also because it is a beautiful summer pattern. It is the Summer Court Tank by Dragon Horde Designs. So yes, I've partly included this because it's inspired by the Summer Court of A Court of Thorns and Roses book series, my probably favorite book series of all time. But I also included it because it's this beautiful, delicate lace tank top. I really love that band of lace at the bottom, and I'm not much of a lace knitter. I usually struggle with doing lace patterns. So what I like about this pattern is even though it's bottom up, you're getting the lace over with first, and then you can customize how long or short you want your tank top to be. So for me, I would probably do this as a cropped length, and even though it's bottom up and I struggle with like fit with bottom up, I think it would be fairly simple to measure how long or short you want your tank top to be, because once you have the length of stockinette that you like, you really just need to do those triangle sections of the tank top, which I feel would allow you a lot of opportunity to properly measure yourself and make sure that you're going to get the fit and look that you want. So I have faith in this bottom up pattern. I really do. But there are some really great options of some of the other people who have knit this pattern that have done it as a longer style tee, and it looks just as beautiful. Now, number 18 on my list is definitely a crop style because it is called the Cottage Core Crop by Kate Garden, also known as Mezzo Makes. I adore this pattern. First of all, because of that button band up the center, as I've already talked about, I'm a big fan of a button band, but also it looks super girly and fun and feminine without including a lot of challenging techniques. I really love that ruffle at the bottom. I love the ruffle on the sleeves. I'm a fan of ruffles, what can I say? But I love that doing a ruffle can really make your piece look really fun and feminine without doing anything too complicated. A ruffle is actually fairly simple to do, and it's so much fun. I really love how everyone who made this pattern has styled it, because there's so many different ways that you could style it, and it could go with so many different pieces. I know I would probably like it best with either some jean shorts or some jeans. I think it would look, I personally would wear it most with a pant or a short option, but you could totally wear it with like a tight pencil skirt or even just a full skirt and lean right into that A-line flared look at the bottom. I just think this would go with so many things, and I love that it's a chance to play around with some fun styling. Number 19 on my list is for someone who wants a lacy top without having to do an intricate lace chart, and that is the Petal Party Crop by Samantha Guerin. I love this top because it gives you that lacy detail, but it's a straightforward, easily repeatable lace pattern that's not going to be super challenging. And part of me really loves the angularness of those two lace panels going up the sides. I really like the sharp lines, and I think it looks really snazzy. It's also something that wouldn't be out of place with just a simple outfit like a pair of shorts. I think it's definitely something that's going to give you more of that cool vibe to your look versus sometimes a really floral lace can skew more feminine. This is one that's going to be more of like just a generic cool person look. And I really like that about this pattern. Now there is one little hiccup I can tell with this particular top, and that's the location of the lace bands. It's right over where your bra strap would be. But don't let this stop you from making this design, because as Samantha has shown in the pattern sample, it looks beautiful layered over something like a dress or another top underneath. Number 20 on my list is my last set of dual patterns, and it's a couple more 2-of-1s patterns. It's the Streamlined Tank and the Streamlined Tea. I wanted to include these patterns because, like I've already mentioned, your girl loves a v-neck, and I especially love the slip stitch detailing around the v-neck of this tank top and this tee. Those slip stitches allow for some really clean lines along your v-neck, which creates beautiful shaping. I know sometimes when you do a v-neck in a sweater, you don't really see how clean and crisp that v-neck looks until you add ribbing or some other edging. This pattern does it while you're knitting the whole pattern. You don't have to go back and add an edging. So you get this really nice v-neck as you're doing the pattern, and to me, they just stand out. I think they would go with almost anything in my wardrobe, and they kind of lean more towards that cool girl in the mountains going for a hike vibe. Something that I would definitely do with these patterns is use a plant-based fiber like a cotton or a linen, just because I really feel like with that waterfall detail of the slip stitches, it's going to really shine in a fabric that's going to have drape and it's going to hang really nicely. So that's something that I would do for these patterns. And then also I could wear it when I go hiking. Number 21 on my list is plants and birds and rocks and things. It's probably the longest pattern title of any pattern on this list, but I definitely wanted to include it, and it is by Encephaloscope Knits, also known as Catherine Cote. And I'm very excited to include this pattern because Catherine is a plus-size designer from Canada. Yay! I really, really love this tee. I think it's another one of those really classic style tees that is something you would wear with anything in your wardrobe and gives you versatility. Because the fun thing about this pattern is that it's not just one color if you don't want it to be one color. Catherine has included instructions for doing some really cute raglan stitch detailing to give you different colors on this pattern. She recommends to just go crazy with as many colors as you want. I personally would probably do just one color as the background color and then one contrasting color that I would do 2 lines of going along the raglan. For me, that kind of mimics the look of an exposed sewn t-shirt. You know, sometimes you can find those in stores, and I just think it adds this really great element of detail. But of course, I also love it because of the sizing. There's so many sizes for this pattern, and I love that it comes from a plus-size designer, so she knows exactly how to design for my type of body, which I really appreciate. Number 22 on my list, I haven't just included because the title is from a Grease song. I've included it because it's such an adorable top. And that is The One That I Want Crop by Lily Kate Makes, or Lily Kate France. This is such a cute little top, but it's going to challenge you a little bit, but I think the challenge is worth it. I remember when I first started checking out knitting podcasts, I found Lily Kate Makes, and she was actually working on this top as I was getting into her videos. So I kind of was like watching her talk about the design process. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to include it on this list. And that's because it is such a cool construction. It's a garter stitch top, but it's done sideways. And I think that's something that's kind of coming up lately, is that different ways of construction are hitting the market right now. And I think sideways is something that's going to be coming up a bit more in the next little while. I think this is such a fun way of doing a top. It is going to be a little tricky just because there are some elements to it that are going to require a bit of brain power, but I don't think it's impossible. I think it's very doable. The only thing that might be slightly less doable is that if you want that contrasting edge, you're going to need to crochet. And I don't crochet at all. I can do a line of chains is not even the right way of saying it, right? I can do a chain stitch, I think that's the way it's called, in order to do a provisional cast on. That's the extent of my crocheting skills. But if you have some crochet skills, maybe you're bistitual, maybe you only know a little bit of crochet, or you feel like you could be adventurous enough to try this little bit of crochet in order to do this top, go forth and do it. I think it's super cute. I think it's really feminine. It's kind of got a romantic vibe to it, especially based on your color choices as well. I think this would be stunning in like a really pale pink with maybe a bit of like a sandy color edging, that type of thing. Something to really like evoke like a light pink rose with like a page of paper, like a letter or something like that. Oh, I'm getting all the ideas in my head now. But I just think this would be such a beautiful and romantic piece. And this pattern also has a button band, but this time the button band is on the back. And it has to stay on the back because there's shaping that happens along the front of the top. But I think it's really cute to have that little bit of detail on the back as well. That's why I like the Botanical Tea so much, is because it has those eyelets on the back. I also really love that in the pattern projects on Ravelry, there are a few people who have styled this top over top of a button down, and I just think it looks so stinking cute. It is so adorable, and it's a great way to make your warm weather pieces transition into other seasons as well. So there's a lot of versatility with this piece, and my fingers, they're itching. They kind of want to make it. Number 23 on my list is another ACOTAR inspired pattern. I promise this wasn't my only criteria for this list. I promise. I just happened to find another really great t-shirt that works with this list, and it happened to be inspired by ACOTAR. This is, of course, the Tea of Dreams by Claire Jackson of Perfectly Knotted. And, okay, yes, part of me wanted to include it because it was inspired by ACOTAR. In fact, Claire used Explore Knits and Fibers Court of Dreams colorway, which is inspired by ACOTAR, as the yarn for her project. But there's two big reasons why I love this pattern. First and foremost, I love that draped sleeve look. It kind of reminds me of a robe or a kimono, and I just think it's something that I don't have in my wardrobe at all, but it's something that I love to wear. I do have a few of those kimono style, sort of like chiffon cardigans, I guess is how I would call it. And I wear those a lot as layering pieces. So I love the idea of taking that same sleeve shape and using it in a t-shirt. But the biggest reason why I love this pattern is that it is completely size inclusive because it is a custom sized pattern. You input your measurements and the pattern tells you how much to knit, where to knit, all that jazz. And I absolutely love that Claire chose to do that for this pattern. I just think it adds so much freedom to a pattern, and it really makes it available to almost anybody who wants to make it. So many reasons to love this pattern, but especially the size inclusivity. Not to be outdone by my love of ACOTAR is also my love of Clueless, shown by including the As If Tea by Shay Johnson. I really love this pattern, and although it does use mohair, which some people might not think of as a summer fiber, you could totally substitute the mohair for another lace weight yarn and get the same effect. I really like this pattern because it's something that I don't see a lot of. I don't do intarsia, but this pattern makes me want to do intarsia. And I really love that faux sweetheart look to the top, but it's still a basic t-shirt style. It just gives the impression of having that sweetheart, almost bustier look, and I'm really digging that. I also really like that it allows you to combine a couple of yarns so you can work through your stash or just play around with crazy color. Imagine how cool this would look with black as your main color and then white as your mohair color. A classic black and white. It always works. Look at Wednesday Addams. Anyway, I think this is such a fun tea. I don't think I've seen anything else similar to this in my searching, but I really like it because it is something that just stands out as being like, oh yeah, that's cool. Number 25 on my list is, funny enough, my second pattern on this list that is both a top and a dress. I'm talking about the Knit Girl Summer Top and Dress by Joan Ho. I love this pattern, and I think Joan Ho is a designer to watch. She has so many cool designs. In fact, she has a book coming out soon of so many of those designs. But I particularly like the Knit Girl Summer Top and Dress because of all the small details on it. First and foremost, I love those ties for the straps. I just think that's effortlessly chic. It's something that I could see on a top, whether you're walking the streets of Italy, whether you're at the beach, or you're just hanging out in your own backyard. It's something that looks super classy, but is low effort. I also love that allows you to hide your bra strap. And having those ties also allows you to customize the height of your top, whether you need it to be a little higher to maybe conceal that center bar of your bra, or if you want it a little lower and showing a bit more skin and feeling a little sexier, you have those options. I also really love that the shape of the V-neck looks really crisp and clean because of the way the increases are done. I just think it looks really snazzy, and it's a tiny detail, but it stands out to me. And then, of course, I love the option of being able to turn this into a dress if you want. I mean, come on, how cool is that? But I think it's equally as impressive as just a tank top as well. Number 26 on my list is Red Currant by Skein Near Knits. I am a particular fan of this pattern because of those adorable puffed sleeves. I think I'm coming to realize about my own knitwear is that I love feminine details to patterns, and I especially love something that can be quite girly but doesn't have to be full toddlers and tiaras girly. You know, it can stop before that. And having a little detail like those little puff sleeves is something that stands out to me about Red Currant. It also stands out to me because I could totally see myself wearing this for any outfit for work. It's just a little higher than your basic top or blouse because of that detailing of the sleeves, and it would be equally acceptable to wear it with some jean shorts or wearing just my sandals and my jeans. Like, it's something that I could really fit into my wardrobe really, really easily, and I love it for that aspect. Continuing on the train of feminine details, I promise not every pattern on here is all about feminine details, but I happen to have a couple that are back to back. Number 27 on my list is the Rosa Tea Lady by Oolong Anna. I really love this pattern because of that beautiful folded picot edge on the hem of the sleeves and on the hem of the sweater. Now, I really hate doing a picot bind off. I just find it tedious and it's really, really annoying. But doing a folded hem with a picot edge makes the process so much easier, and in my opinion, it looks a lot cleaner than if you did a picot bind off. So I love that detail is included in this pattern. I also really like the little eyelets coming away from the raglan stitches along the yoke of the sweater. I think that really nicely echoes the picot edging that you get, and I think as a whole it just works really, really well as a t-shirt that has those nice little details that allow you to dress it up for a dressier occasion. Number 28 on my list is Argyle by Claire Lakewood and published in Pom Pom Quarterly. I love this pattern because there are 16 sizes to this pattern. And those 16 sizes are very close together to allow for a really wide variety of fit and to allow you to pick the size that will really fit your body type. A lot of the times in knitwear patterns, the sizes go up by 4-inch increments, and that's because 4 inches is typically what's used to measure your gauge. So it's an easy way of measuring different sizes, but this pattern goes up by 2-inch increments, which allows for much more versatility of sizing, which I think is a really great aspect of this pattern. I also really love the tie detail at the waist. I think that's an effortlessly cool look. It's something that I do a lot with my button-down shirts, so I would love to have it as part of a knitted piece, especially a knitted piece made out of a really drapey fabric like linen or bamboo or silk. I think this is something that totally has a spot in my wardrobe. It's something I've been wanting to make for a while, and I just think it's really cool looking, especially with the two-tone striping. Something about having a wide stripe of one color and a skinny stripe of another color just looks chic. Now, it's probably harkening back to like the pinstripe look on classic men's suits, but something about it just looks really snazzy, and I'm drawn to it so easily. And this pattern does it vertically, which you don't see very often. So it means you're going to be playing around with the construction of this pattern, and I really love that, and I'm really intrigued by that. So maybe you might like it just as much as I do. Number 29 on my list is Rhoda by Natalie Pelik. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She is a Ukrainian designer who has designed what I could see as something that I put over anything, from a bathing suit to a tank top to a dress to a pair of shorts. I love the versatility of this pattern, and I also love the detailing of this pattern. Yes, we have another button band. Yes, we have some more lace work, but we also have this really fun swing style fit to the tee, almost like an A-line type. And I just feel like that gives you so much freedom of movement, especially if you do a fiber like linen, cotton, silk, bamboo, anything that has a lot of drape to it. And I just think it's something that would get so much wear. And by having that button band, you could alternately wear this as an open style as well as just a pullover style tee, which gives you even more versatility with how you can wear it. So I love it for all of those reasons. And now the last pattern on my list, number 30, is Dishane by Layla Raven. And I hope I pronounced the pattern name correctly. I'm actually not entirely sure how to pronounce this, so I'm just going with my gut instinct that it's a French name. So I pronounced it as it would be if it was French. But this is the last pattern on the list, and you might be wondering why a 3/4 length sleeve top belongs on a spring and summer list. And that's because this is the type of top that is another really great layering piece. Because you really can't wear it without something underneath it. Otherwise, basically, everything in the center is going to be on full display. If you want that, go for it. It'd be great over like a bathing suit, or if you want to show off a cute little bralette, totally great. Go for it. But also, it would be great over a tank top, over another tee, anything that you want to wear it over, a dress maybe. But also, you can modify the length of these sleeves. There are a lot of options in the pattern photos that show a lot of people making this a t-shirt length. And that really stood out to me. I really loved how that looked. I felt that it looked really nicely balanced, especially if someone made the body of the sweater a bit longer. It really kind of balanced out nicely with the longer length and the shorter sleeves. But I also really love it as it's styled in the sample photo, which is 3/4 length sleeves and a cropped length. I love that Layla Raven has taken into account the fact that someone who is of a larger bust might want the same amount of positive ease as someone who is knitting one of the smaller sizes. So even though it includes 22 inches of positive ease, it's still a size-inclusive pattern because someone who has a bust of 60 inches can still make this pattern with the same amount of ease as somebody making it who's maybe a 40-inch bust. So really great on the designer to include sizes that have the same amount of ease. But it also means that if you have a larger bust and want less ease, you're still able to make this pattern because it goes up to such a large bust size, which is awesome. I love that. I also really love how floaty this design is. So this is another one that I would definitely use a drapey fabric for. And I really love it as a layering piece. So I would probably knit it as the pattern sample photo shows, which is the cropped length and the 3/4 length sleeves. But again, do whatever suits you. Well, that was a lot of knitting patterns to go through. I know I could have scaled it back, but when I was looking at patterns for this video, I really had a hard time limiting myself because I had so many great options to choose from, and there's great ones coming out every day, as I showed with the Oolong tank, which just came out, I think, last week, maybe the week before. Depends on when I get this video out. But I really think that there's so much to choose from, and I wanted to provide as many options as possible without, giving myself hours and hours of video content to edit. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you find something that strikes your fancy. I know, having gone through this video and talking about each of the patterns, I have an idea in my mind about what I want to do next, but I gotta go check out my stash and see what is pulling me the most. But I think that this was also beneficial to me as well, because I'm going to find something new to work on, and I'm really excited about that. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for joining me, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. While you're here, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out some of my other videos. I mainly do podcast episodes as well as these pattern roundup videos, but there's also some other hidden gems in my collection that you could check out. I really hope you enjoyed this list of my top 30 size-inclusive spring and summer tops, and whatever you decide to knit, I hope you all take care and happy knitting!